The California man who allegedly hatched an ill-fated plot to kill Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh was shy and awkward in high school and never did anything that stood out, according to his best friend at the time, Kenny Virginie. He said he was floored to hear about it. By the way, I'm in Arizona and it's 100-something degrees, that's why I'm sweating. Virginie recalled Roski as being a very smart kid who enjoyed talking about politics, philosophy, and superhero movies, including The Avengers. In court, Roski was asked if he understood what was happening and whether he was thinking clearly. "I think I have a reasonable understanding, but I wouldn't say I'm thinking clearly," he said. Roski added that he was taking medication but didn't elaborate on what it is or why he's on it. Virginie didn't want to speculate about his pal's mental health. I think we can all speculate on that, though. Roski's grandfather, Dan Shannon, insisted late Wednesday the charges against his grandson were extremely out of character. He's a good kid. I'll tell you what, the media, the combination of meds and media is a deadly cocktail. Outrage culture like demonic possession, and thank God some voice got through to tell this young man that what he was doing or intended to do was insane. He called 911 on himself. Mental illness and a society that cultivates it. I can't help but feel sorry for this kid because I view him as a victim of a society whose sickness infiltrated his core. He somehow got it so twisted that in reaction to the unbelievable tragedy that was Uvalde, he was going to commit murder as well, destroy a family, destroy multiple families, because he's been told over and over again that people who think differently than he does, or differently than the mainstream narrative, are evil, are somehow less than human. The propaganda bled through, along with the hopelessness, this constant rhetoric fabricated in people divorced from God, no doubt, and in search of a purpose, needing the attention somehow in some way. He doesn't understand that media fabricates characters and has done so since Nixon and Watergate. They sell scandal and outrage, they prod and provoke, rooted, of course, in an agenda to manipulate and control. And the void you feel makes you turn to medications which twist the contours of your mind into talking snakes, urging you down certain paths. This kid was also upset that he might go light on gun policy. Ironically, the kid was the main victim here, in a way, because he's lost his life. The prime of his life will be in prison. And don't confuse empathy with condoning any of this, or with thinking prison isn't what he absolutely deserves, at least within the structure of our current society. Because really what he needs is help with extreme mental illness, illustrated here with just how big a role the media plays in it. He was inspired entirely by the media's narrative. He didn't know the man he was preparing to murder in the first degree and in cold blood. What he knew was the narrative and the interpretation of that narrative as dictated by an in-group of which he considers himself a member, of which they consider him in the final assessment a sucker. And he fantasized that this action would see him rewarded with accolades. It would see him become a somebody in a world full of nobodies, screaming into the abyss. Just now, I heard a certain deranged segment of society are applauding and making heroic the lunatic who committed the atrocities at Uvalde. The media, of course, has blood on its hands, oceans of it. Stop listening to the propaganda, or just at least realize that that's what you're doing.